Hello, ladies. Now, I've done this for my men on the men's side, so I'm going to attempt to do it for the ladies. Now, I've done a video for MGTOWs and for my Idmores called Five Things I Would Tell My Son About Women. Now, since I have daughters, I kind of know what I'm talking about. I've had this experience. Even though women don't listen, my daughters didn't listen. But I'm going to try to attempt to do the same thing for the women. So, five things I would tell my daughter about men. So, here we go. So, I'm going to list them. Number one is his purpose. Number two is mission. Number three is logic. Number four is character. And number five is his worldview. Now, since I don't know which would be better to start with, the first one or the last one, I put them in order of importance. And since I never know who's going to make it to the end of the video, I guess I'll start with the most important things first in order of importance. What I would tell my daughter about men. The first thing I would say is that a healthy man, needs a purpose in life. And his purpose should be the most important thing because that will drive him throughout his adult life in one shape, form, or fashion or another. I just watched the movie Guardians of the Galaxy, where the main lead, was looking for his father. His father was an alien and he had been missing mostly his whole life. But as his father started talking to him, he asked him why he left his mother. He said, even though he loved his mother, he said his purpose in life came first. And a man's purpose in life came first because that is his inner essence. That is what drives him forward. A woman's offspring and her biological imperative drives a woman forward more than anything in her life, believe it or not, whether she believes it or not. But for a man, just like a woman's nest is her most important thing, a man's purpose is more important than anything else. Like my teacher says, your life's purpose is more important than getting married, having children, having material things and whatnot. Sometimes men find it when they're younger, which is kind of rare. A lot of times they realize it after the age of 30 when they get to know who they really are. They get a clue of what their purpose was, even though it probably has been driving them their whole life. But a man without a purpose or without knowing his purpose is like a ship without a direction. That's why young men go from zigzag from side to side, forward and back, because they haven't realized what their mission or what their purpose was. And sometimes a man without a purpose can be driven into a lot of negative behavior. Most guys, even if they don't know exactly what the purpose is, they have an inkling, an idea, and that pushes them forward, keeps them healthy. But when you don't have one, or a man doesn't have one, he's a sad individual, or a reckless individual, or even a destructive individual. There's a lot of young men that don't have a purpose or a reason to live, and they just want to have fun because they said they could be dead at any moment and they don't really care what direction they're going in. Those are the men you want to avoid. Those are the men that leave a woman with 2 or 3 babies, wind up in jail, and wind up on the street somewhere, not being able to not only take care of himself, but his offspring. But that's the first thing I would tell my daughter about men. The second thing is mission. Once you know your purpose, or you have an inkling of your purpose, then you have a mission in life. And your mission could be one thing, or it could be a lot of things could be incorporated into it. Like a man's purpose is what drives his mission. If a man says his purpose in life is to be a great father and a great husband, that's the man that will work 2 jobs. That's the man who will work 60, 70 hours a week to be a husband and a father. I know of A few guys like that. In fact, one of my best friends, that was his purpose in life. He had 3 families. And until he drew his last breath, his purpose and his mission was to be a father and a husband and to take care of his family. His whole reason for being is to be that. And he wasn't happy unless he was doing that. That was his mission for everything with all 3 families. So once he had his purpose and he had determined his mission, then the rest was how he went about it, how he materially carried it forward, what kind of discipline he had to actually accomplish that mission. Sometimes the one family was successful, the other one wasn't, and the last one he finally got it right. There were all 4 of his children were well-rounded individuals and productive individuals. They all went to school. Some of them graduated, some of them didn't. They all had careers, not jobs, but careers. But that was his driving force. That was his mission in life. Now, the third thing I would tell my daughter that's important about men is logic. Men are 80% logic and 20% emotion. 80% logic and 20% emotion. If you're a woman, the last thing you want is a man that's as emotional as you, because that man is supposed to be your rock. He's supposed to be able to sort things out and see things clearly when your emotion clouds things. He's supposed to be able to keep you on course. So if that man is not logical or in his masculine logic to where he can see things clearly, he will not be of any help. He might be fun. He might even be exciting. But if he's not logical, he's going to do a lot of silly things. He's going to do a lot of emotional things that it could lead to personal and physical destruction or financial destruction. And eventually, as he gets older, the lack of logic will make him a weak man, inconsistent and not able to hold his own boundaries, because emotions vary, emotions fluctuate. Just like the contents inside of a boundary, it can be less, it can be more, it can expand, it can contract, but the boundaries, the fence, the guidelines have to stay fixed. And male logic plays that part in it. Sometimes women think it's frustrating, or he might be boring, or he might be not exciting as he should be. But the thing is, anything worth it, anything that's consistent, anything that's steady, anything that you can depend on is not always exciting. You don't get excited when you go out to your car and turn the key and the car starts. You don't get excited when your car makes it to its destination. Okay, that's boring. Your car starting, your car making it to its destination and back and forth on a daily and yearly basis is boring. That is male logic. Now, hopefully, the 20% kicks in and gives you some spice, like when you step on the gas and we go around somebody, or you're flying like 80 miles on the freeway and get your little thrill, but your car's basic job is to get you from one place to another safely and consistently. Male logic is like that. The fourth thing, a lot of things that women overlook, is character. Character, just like logic, like male logic, is dependable. What kind of character does that man have? Does he keep his word? Does he say what he means? If somebody is saying what they mean, you will hear a lot more no's than you will a yes. The man has character. When he says yes, he will keep his word because his word means something to him. People that say yes all the time, their word doesn't mean anything to them. People that say no more times than they say yes, it's because their ass is on the line every time they say yes. Whether it's time, money, effort, when they say yes, they're giving you their word. I haven't been accused of that a lot of times, not giving a firm yes, because I've always valued my yeses. When I say yes to something, that means I put my ass on the line. And I am compelled to carry it out. So my women, my children, even my family knows I say no a lot more times than I say yes, because that yes has to mean something not only to me, but it has to mean something to them. And I would say that for a man, if you're picking a man, if you're picking a man that's going to be there for long term and you need him for something other than sex, his character, every time he says yes, his character is put at risk and put to the test. Because if he fails in that yes, in that agreement, keeping his word, it's going to damage his character or damage your opinion of his character. Is he disciplined? Is he orderly? Is he on time? Does he go to work every day? When he's there, does he do what he's supposed to do? When he's with you, does he do what he says? Does he give you a straight answer? Does he stick to it, no matter how much you cajole? Women constantly test a man's character and his boundaries. So if he's a simp or he's weak or he's untrustworthy, and you pick a guy like that, and then 2 years later you're complaining about him, about how bad he was, just because he could perform in bed better than most guys, and you pick a guy with bad character, you'll suffer from it. Character doesn't mean that he's okay in the good times when things are easy. Character means that when the chips are down and things are going bad, he will follow through on what he says and what he's going to do because his character demands that. You learn a lot more about a person's character under stress than you do when times are good. And the last thing is his worldview. It's something that fits with purpose, mission, logic, character. All that adds up into his worldview. How does he see the world? How does he see the world around him? How does he see the world when he picks up a newspaper? How does he see the world when he watches TV? His worldview. What does he think? How does he see things? Is he a pessimist? Is he an optimist? Is he pragmatic? Is his worldview narrow? Because if his worldview is narrow, then his immediate circle and what's going on in his block will be all that's important to him. And while he may be capable, he'll be limited. So if you want to grow, he can't, because his worldview is narrow. Is his worldview expansive? Does he have a large repertoire? Does he read a lot? Does he have a lot of interest? Most women would say they like a man that knows a lot of things and has a wide interest. He has a wide worldview. You can talk to him on anything, about anything, which is good, except if your worldview doesn't match his. If you have a narrow worldview and you're with a man that has an expansive worldview, that's a mismatch, because a lot of things that he says, a lot of things that he's interested in will fly over your head. Does he want to watch C-SPAN and politics and documentaries and stuff like that when you want to watch CSI or Housewives of Atlanta? That's a mismatch. So you have to know how he sees the world. You have to figure out how he sees the world. Now, a man with an expansive worldview can help you stretch yours, but if you can't stretch yours far enough, then you'll be in conflict, and eventually he'll get bored with you. And if you want to be his partner, then you'll either have to expand yours or he'll have to contract his. But I can tell you, a man with a wide worldview is not happy having a contracted worldview. Your worldview and his worldview have to be close to matching. It doesn't have to be exact, but close to matching. If he's reading War and Peace and you're reading Zane, he may not be the guy for you, or vice versa. If you're reading War and Peace or some Nobel Prize winning book and all he reads is a sports section, you may not be the right person for him, and vice versa. If all he does is go to work, hang out with his friends, and talk about what went on at work and his friends, and you're watching CNN, international, and you're trying to figure out what's going on around the world, what language you're going to learn next, he may not be the person for you. He may be too limited. And definitely with women, if your worldview is wider than his, you will get bored faster. Women, because they're emotional, will fall out of love a whole lot faster than a man will. So his worldview is the sum total of all the first four. And normally, if you find out a man's worldview from the beginning, he'll give you a peek into the other four, because the other four take a little bit of time to learn, take a little bit of time to ascertain. But if you find out what his worldview is, if you find out what kind of books he likes to read, what kind of TV programs he likes to watch, even if he's a maintenance worker, go look at his library, watch a documentary with him, ask him what the last 5 films he actually watched or went to the movies and saw. And if you get to know him a little bit better, you can always ask him, if he wasn't doing what he was doing, if he's a janitor, if he could do it all over, what would he be? That'll give you a peek into the man's worldview. The table of contents will tell you what the chapter names are. But if you look back into the index, it'll tell you what's in the book. Man's worldview is his index. But that's the 5 things that I would tell my daughter about men. With that, I'm going to say goodbye to you ladies. Till next time, this is BGS out.